Let's just buy a tripod next time, mate. It's that time, folks. If you happen to miss the first Q&A, I will put the link in the description below. But let's jump straight into it. So the first question is from Havanor_Mutelu, and they say James McVeigh World Tour 2024. No question mark, just it could be a statement. Yeah, we're planning something at the moment. World Tour, I think, to be completely transparent with you, is a bit of a stretch at the moment for me. I'm currently completely independent, which means that, like, the long and short of it is, it means that everything I do gig-wise, I have to, pay for, really, like, just to be completely frank with you. And doing world tours are extremely costly. So I'm going to try and do as many shows as I can in 2024. I would love to be able to say that I'm doing a tour of the entire world, and I'm sure this is going to annoy people. Probably be playing shows slightly closer to home in the near foreseeable future, but I'll caveat that with saying any opportunity that I can do, that I can actually do, I will do. Next question comes from Hannah Humphrey X, and they say, how is performing solo instead of with the band? Does it feel different when you're on stage? Yeah, so I've only done one gig so far, solo, and that was at Hoxton Hall last month. I had an absolute blast. I think it's a million miles apart from performing with the Vamps for a wide array of different reasons, you know, from a setup perspective. So with the Vamps, it's just a different arrangement on stage, as we have like a big kind of sound. It's a lot more kind of bassy. Obviously the songs are very different as well. You know, one of the reasons that I'm doing my projects is because I wanted to make music slightly different from what I do with the Vamps. With all of that said, that doesn't mean that I don't enjoy performing with the Vamps, or vice versa, didn't enjoy my solo show. It's just a very, very different thing. I love when I do shows with the Vamps that I have a real, you know, I've had pretty much 12 years of life with those other boys. So there's this real sense of like trust and mutual kind of striving to put on the best show as possible. So yeah, completely different show. And I think it's going to take time for me to get to a point performing solo where I kind of find the groove of it. But I really enjoyed it, and I'm dying to play another show really soon. Next question from Neve.x16. Are you making any more solo songs? Yes, I am. I'm in the middle of doing another like group of songs. I don't really know what to call it, whether it's an EP or an LP. I think at the moment we're looking at like 8 songs, and the biggest difference between the first EP and whatever this new thing will be is we've got live cello. So Ben, the guy that played with me at Hoxton Hall, came round here and we recorded some of his stuff, and it's a game changer. Elena XP. Yeah. What's my favourite tattoo? Difficult one. I'm not sure how many tattoos I've got now. I think when you start getting to a point where you've got like sleeves, I don't know if that counts as one or many. I think my favourite tattoo, I like the ones that really mean a lot to me, and they might not be the most aesthetically pleasing per se, but I've got stuff like Kirsty's handwriting here that says "always with you" on my hand here, and then I've got Brad's writing that says "rough night" here, which is the first song we ever wrote together, and then I've got Patrick's, I'm getting this touched up on Friday actually, but I've got Patrick's writing that says "One Forever Constant," which is a song that we wrote together that means a lot to me. I've got where Kirsty and I got engaged, Friars Crag here. Things like that. Some of the pictures I really like. I've got like a sword down the back of my neck that I never see. The sentimental ones are kind of where tattoos begun for me. So they always will maintain a special place in my heart. We've got a question from Lily X Tours. Does writing about your mental health in music help you? Yeah, absolutely. And Manabe, the first EP, was really a documentation of my journey through the last 2 years of my life, summarized across, how many songs did we do on Manabe? 5? I don't know. But each of those songs resembles a moment, a chapter in that journey. And I think for me, writing about my mental health really did act as a type of therapy. You know, some people write diaries. For me, writing songs about how I feel is how I get through those more difficult episodes in life. Been asked this question a lot over the years, and I've just realised it's another one from Elena, but I like the question. I had like hundreds and hundreds of questions, so the chances of me picking two of the same are very, very slim. Did we do a part 3? Surely not. If you were stuck on an island, what would be the 3 things you'd bring with you? 3 things I'd bring on an island. I always thought when I was maybe 18, when we first started getting asked these sort of questions in interviews, I'd be like, oh, I bring a boat, you know what I mean, so I can get off. Like, is this on the presumption that you have a water supply, a food supply? Because that's like obvious, right? If you've got them and it's just 3 things to help you survive your time, irrespective of the, you know, food and water limitations, I would say guitar, sunglasses, and sun lotion. Next question is from 444.csjb. Is that Connor Samuel John Ball? Connor in the picture as well. Yeah, it is. How long did it take to write Manabe? I think mentally probably 2 years, but when it comes down to actually getting it over the line and finishing it, probably, was that like a year? This is from MDMTSKR. How do you deal with anxiety before going on stage? I used to drink quite a bit of alcohol before going on stage. Not like, I wasn't like sat on my own somewhere with my head in my hands, using it as like a coping mechanism. I don't mean that. I just mean more if you're doing like summer shows, I think are notorious for this. If you get there at maybe 3 o'clock and you're not on until 7 and the sun's shining and there's other bands there and you're sat outside, you find yourself kind of having a gin and tonic or something. And before you realize you've had like 3 or 4 drinks before going on stage, and you're like, whoa. Which from a playing perspective and definitely from a vocal perspective, like alcohol before singing is something I've completely stopped, just because I was told by my surgeon and my vocal coach that alcohol is kind of the worst thing when you're on stage to be doing. It really dries out, you know, dehydrates your vocal cords. So that aside, it meant though that there was no sense of like anxiety or nerves before going on stage. And actually it was quite apparent doing my Hoxton Hall show in particular. I was just like sat there in the dressing room and it was really quiet and I was on my own and I didn't have any alcohol or anything. And it was really, you know, in a way it was amazing because I was so present with how I was feeling. And I was like kind of playing out what I was going to do when I was on stage and stuff. And I loved that clarity that I think alcohol sometimes takes away from me. I'm going to have a real sense of anxiety when I play with Henry Moody in March. It's like a full European tour. I'm going to be playing in cities that I haven't been to for a while. There's going to be people there that don't know anything about my music. That's going to be a challenge. But you know what? It makes me feel in a way like I'm a 16-year-old kid again, about to go on stage. I say on stage, about to perform in my local pub. And I kind of love that real sense of feeling alive with those emotions. And actually, I do think with me, feeling anything before stage, obviously dread is probably not one I ever want to feel, obviously. But if it is like nerves and anxiety, I'm a bit like, it makes me remember that I genuinely put a lot of weight and emphasis and emotion and passion into the performance. For my body to react like that, it makes me remember you love this and you want this to go well. So I'll let you know in March how I get on with that. This one's from We Heart Kirsty. How's your vitiligo? Yeah, like vitiligo, for people that don't know, is it's when your skin pigment is, well, I mean, you can still see it here. I've still got a bit of a tan from South Africa. It's where you don't have any melanin. Is that the thing? Yeah. So basically, when you tan, not like when you don't have vitiligo, like normal skin, you tan, and you know your melanin. I hope I'm getting that word right. Is what kind of, it's like a barrier, right? And it goes brown, and you tan and whatever. With my areas of vitiligo, I don't have any melanin, so I can't tan in these areas, which means that sunburn is like a lot more dangerous in these areas. There's no like block, no barrier to the burn. It really affected me mentally for a while, actually, the vitiligo. And it's funny how, for me, like, and I'm sure other people too, time is such an interesting like mechanism to help you come to terms with things. And for me, when I first got vitiligo, I found out about it just before going on honeymoon. And we were going to Turks and Caicos, and it's like a beach resort, and the thought of being in the sun with it was terrifying, and it affected me mentally, I think, quite a lot. And then, without realizing, I've just kind of learned to have it, and I'm fine with that. And I guess in the winter, the one saving grace is you don't notice it because you're not tanned anywhere else. I think when I am really tanned and I've got these like patches here, it is annoying, and you're not going to be able to see this, but I've got, oh, you can't see that. I've got like grey hairs here that have just coming through, and you can't see that at all. But I think I'm starting to get vitiligo like around here. And it's just part of life, man. Kind of like I was saying with dealing with the anxiety before going on stage. In a really bizarre way, I'm thankful for the opportunity to grow and deal with these factors in my life at this stage in my life. And it's about how I process, deal, learn to live with, and move on from things like vitiligo that ultimately encourage this process of growth, and hopefully aiding me in becoming a more well-rounded individual. This penultimate question is from _Ella Douglas _. What was it like working with Lila on Strangers? Yeah, it was awesome. I knew I wanted a feature for Strangers. I wrote Strangers with Kelly probably 3 years ago now. I always saw it as like a duet style production, and I wasn't really sure who I wanted to get on Strangers. I realised kind of out of nowhere that I wanted to release that song before Christmas, because it didn't really strike me as like a spring song. It felt wintry to me, so I kind of pushed it through. And again, one of the big perks of being independent is I could just do that. Put that song out very quick, and amazingly, Darren, the chap that mixed it, at this point, because I realised I needed to get the song out really quick, I'd kind of said to myself, well, I don't think I'm going to be able to get a feature in time, blah, blah, blah. Darren, who was mixing it, like genuinely, as he was working on the mix of the song to get it ready to release, this was like 3 weeks before it came out, he was like, oh, I know you wanted a feature. What about this girl, Lila Vargan? And it just came together so fast, and I checked out Lila's stuff and loved it. Lila was just so forthcoming with being like, yeah, I'll get on the song. I like the song. I'll send you the vocals like tomorrow. And within the space of 2 weeks, I went from not knowing Lila to have her on the song and the song to be released. So it was like a breeze. Sometimes collaborations and features, there can be a lot of bureaucracy, especially when there's different labels and managers, etc. involved. And Lila and I just texted and sent the song and lyrics to each other, and that was it. And it came together so fast. And I think she's been a perfect feature for Strangers. Here we go then. Last question. We could do a third one of these, but I appreciate, I guess, the novelty of me sat in a different part of my house answering questions is probably wearing pretty thin already. Now we're kind of at the end of the second one. If you want a third one, put it in the comments. Eva Bella Gibbon. Favourite moment from your solo show in London? Yeah, spoken loads about the Hoxton Hall show in this Q&A. I think my favourite moment is actually two things. One, I came into the crowd and sung completely acoustically a Vamp song called Protocol. That was really special, but I actually think like the ultimate moment was something I decided I was doing kind of as I came off stage, which I went out the back of the venue and there's like a little alleyway there, and just started singing to some of the people that came to the show. They sort of like came around the side, and I played a few songs to them, and I loved that. That energy was just so lovely, and I really felt like that evening we kind of all went through something like beautiful together. I'd love to kind of make a bit of a habit of doing these out the back little performances after the gigs. I think when they're like headline shows, obviously, I don't think when I get off stage with on the Henry Moody tour, I'm going to go stand out the side whilst he's on stage. I think that's really disrespectful, so I'm not going to do that. But I think on my maybe my tour, I very nearly just said when the tour is. When I announced the tour, you can put the dots together, right? It's not going to be before Henry's tour, obviously, because that's like I'd have to have announced that already. So it's going to be after Henry's tour. And that's all I'm going to say. So yeah, mate, what do you think about it? Shall I make a tradition of going out the side or the back of a venue? When it's obviously when it's safe. I don't want people to be stood in like a road. Thank you so much for watching the second installment of my Q&A thing. We need to determine whether repeating this process is actually just a bit dull. I know I said in the first one, if I don't see you, have a beautiful Christmas and New Year and all that stuff. I don't think I'll see you on here before then, but who knows? Stranger things have happened. Anyway, I will speak to you soon. Have a brilliant time with your family and friends, and thanks so much for watching.